Patrick, I drive by car lots, and the car lots are empty because they can't get new cars because they can't get the semiconductors to make new cars. At the macro level, do you see any easing on this supply-demand imbalance anytime soon?
First, good morning, and I'll throw in a happy birthday for you too, Brian. As far as your question in terms about the improvements in the semiconductor marketplace, I think this shortage crunch will last at least through the end of this year and probably into 2022. I think the thing that investors have to remember is as these companies are adding capacity, whether it's TSM, whether it's Intel getting into the foundry marketplace, the capacity doesn't come on right away. You have to buy the equipment, get it installed, qualified, and that takes a little bit of time. So I think this shortage situation will persist at least through the end of this year, probably into 2022.
You think Intel's going to make that deal, Patrick, for GlobalFoundries?
Wow, that's hard to say. What I would say is I think it would be a good synergistic fit for Intel, given its strategic vision of going into the foundry market or actually re-entering it. What I would say is I have a lot of confidence in CEO Pat Gelsinger's strategy, and I believe him bringing back some of the kind of the old tactics and the old strategic vision of Intel of having both process technology leadership and manufacturing prowess, that'll make their foundry business better this time around. Adding GlobalFoundries would not only add capacity to the industry, but allow it to participate in certain markets where they're not particularly strong today. Computers are obviously where they're the strongest, but then to get into the automotive and into the smartphone market, GlobalFoundries would be a good fit for Intel there.
You know, it's a bit of a confusing world because you've got, chip makers, you've got foundries, you've got designers, you've got equipment manufacturers. You know, we like to just kind of lump them together, but they all do different things. Sometimes they're complementary, sometimes they're not. In your recent note, you said any kind of a deal for GlobalFoundries would benefit an Applied Materials or maybe a KLA 10 core. Why? What is it about the equipment manufacturers that would benefit from consolidation at that level?
Yeah, in my view, the biggest beneficiaries would be the equipment makers, and I believe they're at the early stages of a growth trajectory, a kind of secular growth thesis. And the reason for that is we're seeing kind of an arms race that's being driven by more and more semiconductor demand. You mentioned automotive. That's only one of the marketplaces. You have data centers, high performance computing, and a lot of other marketplaces that require semiconductors. And today we don't have enough capacity. Well, the biggest beneficiaries are going to be some of the largest equipment companies like an Applied Materials, like a KLA, that will be able to supply a lot of these chip makers with the capacity that's needed to meet the increasing demand.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.